All right, so the issue is resistance. The problem is resistance, but not really about that. It's the resistance to other people's resistance because it mirrors back and reflects and shows you maybe unconscious resistance that you haven't accepted yet. And if you really kind of think about where this resistance comes from, you could trace it all the way back to a time where you either learned this from somebody or somebody modeled it for you. But resistance is kind of different kinds of resistances can be tricky because there could be collective consciousness resistance. There can be unconscious resistance. There is conscious resistance. There is ancestral resistance. So the interesting thing about resistance and the trick about resistance, ultimately, it's a spiritual solution. Meaning, we fundamentally, as human beings, don't have the ability to fully accept everything, because if we did, we would have. But there's fundamentally programs missing or that have not yet been installed, especially when it comes to the acceptance of resistance, which is very foreign at first to the mind or the ego, because the conscious mind could very well say, sure, I accept this resistance, but nothing changes inside. Nothing feels different because you can feel the resistance inside, almost as if two opposing hands were pulling on each other. But in these moments, it's really good to circulate, to really go deep and ask that divine presence, that infinite intelligence that lives within, to completely surround you and completely fill you up. And sometimes you can just simply accept things. And those are at surface level things. Sometimes you can try to accept, but the resistance is still there. It's built in, automatic, unconscious. So sometimes you can just simply ask that divine presence, I need you to give me the ability to accept this situation, this opportunity, this relationship, this vibration, this resistance. And sometimes, just like that, it is now completely dissolved. But other times, we don't have the ability to even ask. So we need to ask, give me the ability to ask for the ability for acceptance. But it's not the acceptance you originally think of. It's divine acceptance, which is like much like a problem that you're having, almost like a cut hand. And it's an ocean, a little size of an ocean of consciousness descending not only on your hand, but your entire being. That's the kind of acceptance, divine intervention I'm asking, or I'm talking about. And the facilitation of that is what we're doing right now. And there's a saying, it takes one to know one. And how that can be applied here, it takes somebody who has the ability and has asked to receive this acceptance to facilitate the transference of how to do the same for yourself. So we already talked about, circling back, that you can just simply ask for acceptance sometimes, the ability to accept the resistance. Sometimes give me the ability to ask, and then ask. Sometimes you need to ask, give me the ability to see what is happening inside. Because if you can't see it, it can't be changed. And once you ask for the ability to see it, the ego is going to want to pull the ripcord and the eject button. So the next thing you must ask is, give me the ability, once I see it, to stay with this resistance, this vibration, without trying to change it. So seeing it, experiencing it, once you experience it to a certain level, then you can ask for the ability to accept it. And of course, whatever is accepted is then next connected. But I would recommend, instead of asking it for it to be connected, maybe it will, most times it won't, I would ask and suggest now that you ask the presence to give you the ability to truly, authentically see what is there. Show me what is there while you're breathing deep in and out. Continuously breathing through beyond the top and then below on the bottom, whatever sensation is there. And once you see it, taking as long as it takes, then ask, give me the ability to stay with this. If you're staying with it, but not fully feeling it, it's not changing. So seeing, number one. Staying with it, number two. There's no more abandoning yourself. Number three, give me the ability to fully experience it. I would ask for those three, and whichever needs to happen the most, the divine presence in your unconscious mind can decide. But if you feel resistance, you need to feel the resistance, because resistance itself is never the problem. It's the resistance of resistance, which all can be completely surrounded and filled up with that ocean of golden consciousness, acceptance, and awareness. And by doing that for an X amount of time, a certain amount of time, as much time as it takes, that sensation, what was being resisted? Because resistance is always to something. But resisting the sensation, the vibration, and experiencing that resistance dissolves. And you get more freedom by receiving a piece of yourself back. Now I would stay here as long as you need to fully confront, face, embrace yourself as the vibration that is happening now, without trying to change it. Just simply be with you now until the two turn into one total being, one total experience all while having gratitude and sacredness, being with yourself now.